Have you ever wondered why some women seem to command attention and respect without even trying? What if I told you that the most impactful moves you can make in a relationship aren't loud or dramatic, but subtle, silent, and incredibly powerful? Let me ask you something. How often do you overthink your words, hoping to say just the right thing to captivate him? What if the real magic wasn't in what you said, but in how you moved, how you carried yourself, and how you mastered the art of quiet strength? Here's the truth. Most of us are chasing validation through external actions, speaking more, explaining ourselves, trying to impress. But men value women who exude confidence and self-worth without needing to shout it from the rooftops. The misconception. You think you need to be overtly vocal or flashy to make an impression. The reality. Silence, when paired with intention, can be your most alluring tool. In this video, we're diving into 8 silent moves that can instantly transform the way men perceive and value you. These aren't shallow tricks. They're rooted in personal growth, stoicism, and a deep understanding of human connection. Each of these moves taps into something primal, magnetic, and universally effective. Ready to discover the secrets that can change the game in love and relationships? Let's dive in. 1. Master the power of a confident presence. What does confidence look like to you? Is it the loudest person in the room, constantly asserting themselves to prove their worth? Or is it someone who enters a space, doesn't say a word, but somehow everyone notices? True confidence doesn't demand attention, it commands it. Picture this. You walk into a room, shoulders back, chin slightly raised, your eyes scanning the space calmly. You don't rush to fill the silence with words, but instead, let the energy around you shift. There's something magnetic about a person who is entirely comfortable in their own skin, isn't there? Men are drawn to this energy because it signals security, a quality deeply rooted in our biology. When you are calm and self-assured, you create an environment where he feels safe, curious, and intrigued. But how do you cultivate this confident presence? Start with your body language. Studies show that over 70% of communication is non-verbal. If you're fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, or slouching, you're unconsciously signaling uncertainty. Practice holding eye contact just a second longer than feels natural. Stand tall and, most importantly, let your movements be deliberate. Confidence isn't hurried. Next, focus on your internal dialogue. Confidence isn't a facade, it's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. When you look in the mirror, do you see someone worthy of love and admiration? If not, that's where your work begins. Replace self-critical thoughts with affirmations of your worth. Start small. Acknowledge something you love about yourself every day. Silence also plays a pivotal role in presence. Resist the urge to fill awkward gaps in conversations. Instead, let the silence breathe. It's often in those pauses that connection deepens. Imagine a moment with him where neither of you speaks, yet the energy between you feels electric. That's the power of confident silence. Finally, let's talk about energy. Think about the concept of Stoicism. The ancient philosophy teaches us to control our reactions and emotions, focusing instead on what we can control ourselves. When you embody Stoicism, you radiate a sense of calm and strength that men find irresistible. You become the woman who doesn't crumble under pressure, who faces challenges with grace, and who inspires him to be better just by being in your presence. But let me ask you, when was the last time you truly let your presence speak for itself? When was the last time you walked into a space and felt entirely at ease without needing validation? That's your challenge. Start practicing this today. It won't happen overnight, but every step you take toward mastering your presence will elevate the way men value you. Are you intrigued? Ready to uncover the next silent move that can shift the dynamic in your relationships? Stay tuned, we're just getting started. Each of these steps builds on the last, creating a magnetic force that men can't ignore. If this resonates with you so far, let me know in the comments. And don't forget, This journey is about your growth, your empowerment, and becoming the love stoic version of yourself that men admire deeply. What do you think about this first step? Let me know, and I'll reveal the next silent move. 2. Practice strategic distance. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like the more effort you put into a relationship, the less you seem to get back? You text first, you're always available, and yet, instead of drawing him closer, it feels like he's pulling away. What if I told you the secret isn't to try harder, but to lean into the power of strategic distance? Here's a truth many people don't realize. What's freely available is rarely valued. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about creating space for him to miss you, to appreciate you, and to invest in you. Let's explore why this works, and more importantly, how you can use this silent move to your advantage. First, let's talk biology. Attraction thrives on mystery and longing. If you're constantly available, you remove the element of anticipation. And guess what? Anticipation is the fuel that keeps relationships exciting. Think about it. How often have you been more intrigued by something that was slightly out of reach? That's human nature at work. But here's the catch: distance doesn't mean disappearing entirely. It's a balance. If you vanish without explanation, you risk coming across as uninterested or unreliable. Strategic distance, however, is about maintaining your presence while creating subtle gaps that make him want to close the distance himself. Start with your availability. Do you always respond to texts within seconds? Do you cancel your plans just to accommodate his? If so, it's time to rethink your approach. Instead, prioritize your life and let him fit into it, not the other way around. When you're busy with your passions, your friends, and your goals, you naturally create the kind of distance that makes him appreciate the time you do spend together. Here's a scenario to consider. Imagine he texts you asking to hang out. Instead of dropping everything to say yes, you pause. Maybe you already have plans. Respect those plans, even if it's just a solo movie night or catching up on a book. Politely let him know you're unavailable but would love to meet up another day. What does this do? It subtly communicates that your time is valuable, and when you do say yes, it will mean more. Now let's touch on communication. Strategic distance doesn't mean being cold or ignoring him. It's about thoughtful responses instead of constant engagement. For instance, instead of sending dozens of texts throughout the day, focus on quality over quantity. A heartfelt message or a well-timed compliment can have more impact than hours of back-and-forth texting. Another powerful aspect of distance is maintaining your individuality. Relationships often falter when one person loses themselves in the other. Keep nurturing your interests, pursuing your goals, and staying connected with your own identity. When you do this, you become more than a partner. You become someone he admires, respects, and wants to know more deeply. Let's connect this to Stoicism. Remember, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, ourselves. You can't control how often he texts you or whether he makes plans first, but you can control how you respond. When you embrace strategic distance, you're practicing emotional discipline. You're saying, I value myself enough to not chase or force anything. That kind of self-respect is magnetic. Here's a little exercise for you. The next time you feel the urge to initiate contact, pause. Ask yourself, does this serve me, or am I acting out of insecurity? If it's the latter, step back. You'll be amazed at how empowering it feels to let him come to you instead. I know what you might be thinking. What if he loses interest? That fear is valid but misplaced. A man who truly values you will rise to the challenge. In fact, your confidence in maintaining distance will only make him respect you more. If he doesn't, then ask yourself, was he ever worth your time to begin with? Love Stoic principles remind us to value ourselves first, ensuring we attract the kind of relationship that aligns with our worth. Let's bring this full circle. Strategic distance isn't about manipulation, it's about mastering the art of balance. It's about saying, I am here, but I'm not at your beck and call. I value myself, and I trust you'll value me too. When you embody this mindset, you transform the dynamic. You create space for him to pursue you, appreciate you, and, most importantly, value you. If this resonates with you, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. Let's keep this conversation going. Also, if you're loving these insights, don't forget to subscribe for more transformative advice that empowers you to elevate your relationships and your life. The next silent move will blow your mind. Stay tuned. 3. Perfect the subtle art of listening. Have you ever felt truly heard by someone? Not just the casual, aha, I'm listening, but the kind of attention that makes you feel valued, respected, and understood. Imagine offering that same experience to him, but not in a way that seems overly eager or forced. In this section, we'll explore how mastering the subtle art of listening can silently make him value you more. Let's begin with a truth that's easy to overlook. Being heard is one of the deepest human desires. When someone truly listens, they're saying without words, you matter. This simple yet profound act builds trust, creates intimacy, and fosters respect. Yet so many people mistake listening for merely waiting their turn to speak. Real listening is an art, and mastering it can completely shift the dynamic in your relationship. Start by giving him your undivided attention. In a world where distractions are everywhere, our phones, social media, endless notifications, undivided attention has become a rare and valuable gift. When he speaks, put your phone away. Make eye contact, nod occasionally to show you're engaged. These small, silent gestures convey respect and attentiveness. But here's the secret sauce. It's not just about hearing his words, it's about hearing between the words. Pay attention to his tone, his body language, the things he hesitates to say. For example, if he's telling you about a stressful day at work, don't just respond with, "That sounds tough." Instead, notice if his voice falters when he talks about a specific challenge, and ask a thoughtful question like, "What about that moment made you feel so frustrated?" This level of attentiveness signals that you're not just passively listening, you're actively seeking to understand him. Now, you might be wondering, won't this make me seem overly invested? Not at all, because listening, when done right, is an act of quiet strength. It's not about overwhelming him with attention, it's about offering him a safe space to express himself. That safety fosters connection, and connection builds value. Another key element of listening is validation. Men, like women, want to feel that their thoughts and feelings are valid. Validation doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he says, it simply means acknowledging his perspective. For instance, if he shares a goal or idea that you don't fully understand, you might say, "I see why that's important to you," rather than dismissing or challenging it. This simple acknowledgement can make him feel supported and respected. Now, let's add an element of subtlety. Sometimes listening involves saying less and observing more. There's a powerful connection between silence and presence. When he's speaking, resist the urge to immediately jump in with your own opinions or advice. Instead, let a moment of silence hang in the air after he finishes. You'll often find that he fills that space with deeper thoughts or feelings he might not have shared otherwise. It's in these moments that trust is built, and his respect for you deepens. But listening isn't just about him, it's also about what it says about you. A good listener exudes emotional intelligence, patience, and confidence. It shows that you're secure enough in yourself to give someone else the spotlight, and that's incredibly attractive. Think about the love Stoic philosophy here. It's about being grounded and intentional, choosing to focus on what truly matters in the moment. Listening exemplifies this beautifully. Now, let's discuss the balance between listening and sharing. While being a good listener is vital, it's equally important to know when to contribute to the conversation. If you're always the one listening and never sharing your thoughts or feelings, the dynamic can become one-sided. Use what you've learned from listening to create meaningful dialogue. For example, if he shares a passion for a certain hobby, you might say, "I love how passionate you are about that. What got you interested in it?" This not only shows you are paying attention, but also opens the door for a deeper exchange. Listening also has a ripple effect. When you make someone feel heard, they're more likely to reciprocate. If you've ever experienced frustration because you felt like he wasn't listening to you, this approach can subtly encourage him to become more attentive. Relationships thrive on mutual respect and understanding, and listening is the cornerstone of both. One thing to keep in mind is that not every moment calls for deep, intense listening. Sometimes, light-hearted conversations, or even silence, can be just as valuable. The key is to be attuned to the moment. Does he need support, validation, or simply someone to share a laugh with? The more you practice listening, the better you'll become at reading these cues. Let's tie this back to what makes a relationship thrive: emotional connection. When you listen deeply, you're not just hearing his words, you're connecting with his emotions, his experiences, and his essence. You're saying, "I see you for who you are, and I value you." And in turn, he begins to value you more, not just as a partner, but as someone who truly understands him. But here's the best part. The art of listening isn't just about improving your relationship with him. It's about becoming a better communicator, a more empathetic person, and a stronger version of yourself. The skills you develop in listening will enhance all of your relationships, romantic, platonic, and professional. Before we move on, I want to leave you with a challenge. The next time you're having a conversation with him, or anyone, practice listening with intention. Set aside distractions, focus on what they're saying, and look for the unspoken messages in their words and tone. Notice how the dynamic shifts, how the connection deepens, and how the respect grows. Listening is a silent move, but its impact is profound. It's not about making noise, it's about making space. And in that space, you create room for understanding, trust, and respect to flourish. When you master the art of listening, you elevate not just how he values you, but how you value yourself. Let's keep going. We've only scratched the surface of these silent moves, and the next one is a game changer. Ready? Let's dive deeper into what it means to silently command respect and admiration. 4. Showcase your ambitions quietly. Have you ever noticed how magnetic someone becomes when they talk passionately about their dreams and goals? Ambition has a way of lighting up a person's entire presence. But here's the secret. You don't have to loudly proclaim your ambitions to make an impact. In fact, showcasing your drive quietly, through your actions rather than your words, is one of the most powerful ways to make him value you more. Let's start by addressing a common misconception. Some people believe that showing ambition too openly might intimidate or push a man away. But the truth: real men value women who have their own goals and purpose. What they don't value is arrogance or the need to compete for dominance. The balance lies in how you express your ambitions, not through grand declarations, but through the quiet confidence of action. Picture this. You're deeply invested in a project, a passion, or a career goal. You don't constantly bring it up in conversation or seek validation for your efforts. Instead, you let your progress and achievements speak for themselves. Imagine the quiet power of him discovering your accomplishments naturally. Maybe he sees you receive recognition at work or notices the dedication you pour into your craft. That kind of understated ambition is magnetic. So, how do you quietly showcase your ambitions? First, prioritize your goals. Men are naturally drawn to women who are focused and driven because it signals independence and self-respect. When you prioritize your goals, you demonstrate that your life is fulfilling and meaningful, with or without him. This doesn't mean neglecting your relationship, it means showing that you value your personal growth as much as you value your connection with him. Next, adopt the mindset of show, don't tell. Talking endlessly about what you plan to do can sometimes come across as empty promises. Instead, let your actions do the talking. If you're working on a degree, a promotion, or a personal project, focus on achieving milestones rather than broadcasting your plans. For example, if you've been working hard on a fitness goal, let him see your progress instead of just talking about it. Your quiet dedication will naturally earn his admiration. Another way to quietly showcase ambition is by balancing your time. When you're unavailable because you're pursuing your passions, it creates a dynamic where he sees you as someone who has a life outside of the relationship. This balance is essential. Not only does it keep the relationship exciting, but it also prevents codependency. He'll respect you more because you respect your own time and priorities. Let's connect this idea to the philosophy of Stoicism. Ambition, when paired with Stoicism, becomes a powerful force. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our efforts, discipline, and resilience, while letting go of the need for external validation. When you embody this mindset, you naturally exude a quiet strength that men find irresistible. You're not chasing success for applause, you're pursuing it because it aligns with your purpose and values. But let me ask you this. Are you afraid to let your ambitions shine because you worry about being too much? If so, let that fear go. The right man will never be intimidated by your drive. Instead, he'll be inspired by it. He'll see your ambition as a reflection of your character, your discipline, and your ability to dream big. And that's the kind of woman men admire deeply. Here's another angle to consider. Quiet ambition doesn't mean shutting him out of your world. It means inviting him to witness your journey without overshadowing his. Share your successes in a way that feels natural and celebratory, not boastful. For example, if you've achieved a milestone, mention it in a way that includes him. I just hit a big goal at work. It feels amazing to see all the hard work pay off. This approach makes him feel like part of your journey, strengthening your connection. Now, let's talk about how ambition can enhance your shared dynamic. When you're pursuing your goals, you create an environment of mutual growth. This encourages him to reflect on his own ambitions and inspires him to pursue his dreams with the same level of determination. It's a silent yet powerful ripple effect. By being true to yourself, you're indirectly elevating him, and that's something he'll value immensely. But there's a delicate balance to maintain. While it's important to showcase your drive, it's equally crucial to ensure your ambition doesn't come across as competitive or dismissive. Respect his goals as much as you pursue your own. Cheer him on when he's working towards something important, just as you hope he'll do for you. This mutual support creates a partnership rooted in admiration and respect. One of the most rewarding aspects of quiet ambition is the fulfillment it brings to you. When you're aligned with your purpose, you radiate a confidence that's impossible to ignore. You're no longer seeking validation from him or anyone else. You're living your truth. And that kind of self-assurance is magnetic. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you been holding back on pursuing a dream or passion because you've been too focused on your relationship? If so, it's time to shift your perspective. Your ambitions don't detract from your connection, they enhance it. They show him that you're a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to chase what she wants. Before we move on, I want to remind you of something. Men value women who value themselves. And one of the clearest ways to show self-respect is by prioritizing your growth and success. When you do this, you're not just earning his admiration, you're deepening your own self-love. If this message resonates with you, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. Your journey of growth is just beginning, and I'd love to hear how these insights are empowering you. Don't forget to subscribe for more transformative advice on how to elevate your relationships and become the love stoic version of yourself, strong, independent, and irresistibly magnetic. Let's continue this journey together. The next silent move will unlock another layer of connection and respect. Stay tuned. 5. Set boundaries with grace. Have you ever felt uneasy saying no or worried that setting boundaries might make you seem distant or unapproachable? The truth is, boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to healthy, balanced relationships. Setting them with grace is not only a silent yet powerful way to make him value you more, but it's also a profound act of self-respect. Let's start by debunking a common misconception. Many people equate boundaries with conflict. They fear that by saying no or standing firm on their values, they might push someone away. But here's the secret: boundaries, when set with kindness and clarity, actually draw people closer. They demonstrate self-worth, emotional maturity, and a clear understanding of what you need to thrive. Think about it. How can someone respect you if you don't respect yourself? Boundaries silently communicate your values, your standards, and your expectations without the need for long explanations or ultimatums. Men, in particular, appreciate a woman who knows her limits and isn't afraid to honor them. It's a sign of confidence, and confidence is magnetic. So, how do you set boundaries with grace? The first step is clarity. You must understand your own needs before you can communicate them effectively. Take some time to reflect. What are your non-negotiables in a relationship? What makes you feel valued, respected, and secure? When you have a clear understanding of your boundaries, you're better equipped to express them calmly and confidently. For example, if you feel uncomfortable with last-minute plans because you value preparation and thoughtfulness, you might say something like, "I'd love to spend time with you, but I need a little more notice to make it work." Notice how this approach doesn't come across as combative or defensive. Instead, it shows that you respect your own time and appreciate consideration. Setting boundaries is also about consistency. A boundary is only as strong as your commitment to uphold it. If you waver or allow exceptions too often, it sends mixed signals. Men value consistency because it creates a sense of stability and trust. Imagine telling him you don't like being called late at night, but then answering every late-night call anyway. It dilutes the message and undermines your boundaries. Now, let's address the emotional aspect of boundary setting. It's natural to feel nervous or even guilty about asserting yourself, especially if you're someone who wants to keep the peace. But remember, boundaries aren't about controlling him, they're about respecting yourself. When you set them with kindness and understanding, they don't create distance, they foster respect. Consider the tone and timing of your boundary-setting conversations. Choose a moment when emotions are calm and the setting is conducive to meaningful dialogue. Use I statements to keep the focus on your feelings rather than placing blame. For instance, instead of saying, "You always ignore me when you're with your friends," you could say, "I feel disconnected when we don't communicate during busy days. Can we find a way to stay in touch that works for both of us?" Boundaries aren't just about what you say, they're about how you act. Actions speak louder than words, and when your behavior consistently reflects your values, it reinforces your boundaries silently. For example, if you've set a boundary around needing alone time, honor that commitment to yourself. If he sees you respecting your own needs, he's far more likely to respect them too. Let's explore how boundaries tie into Stoicism. This philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our responses, and our decisions. Setting boundaries is a perfect example of this principle in action. You can't control how someone reacts to your boundaries, but you can control how you communicate them and how you enforce them. By staying calm, grounded, and resolute, you embody a stoic strength that commands respect. Now, here's something powerful. Boundaries create space for him to step up. When you set limits, you're inviting him to meet you at your level. For instance, if you set a boundary around needing quality time together, it gives him the opportunity to prioritize and invest in the relationship. This dynamic fosters mutual respect and strengthens the connection. But what happens when boundaries are tested? It's inevitable there will be moments when someone, even unintentionally, crosses a line. The way you handle these moments matters. Instead of reacting with frustration or anger, approach the situation with calm confidence. Reiterate your boundary and explain why it's important to you. For example, I understand you're busy, but it's important to me that we keep our plans. It helps me feel valued. This approach maintains the grace in boundary setting while reinforcing its importance. Boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself, they're about creating a framework for a healthy relationship. They ensure that both partners feel respected, understood, and valued. When you set boundaries with grace, you're not pushing him away, you're inviting him into a relationship built on mutual respect and trust. Finally, let's reflect on the transformative power of boundaries. When you honor your own needs, you send a powerful message. I know my worth and I won't settle for less. That kind of self-assurance is incredibly attractive. Men value women who value themselves because it inspires them to rise to the occasion. Before we move forward, take a moment to consider this. Are there boundaries in your life that you've been hesitant to set? What's holding you back? Remember, boundaries aren't about being rigid or difficult. They're about protecting your peace and cultivating respect. When you set them with grace, you're not only elevating how he values you, you're elevating how you value yourself. The next silent move will build on this foundation, unlocking another layer of connection and admiration. Let's keep exploring together. 6. Radiate self-care and self-love. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly prioritized yourself, not out of guilt or obligation, but out of pure love for who you are? When was the last time you embraced self-care as a non-negotiable part of your life? Here's the truth. Nothing speaks louder than a woman who genuinely loves herself. Men are naturally drawn to someone who exudes self-worth, not because it's flashy or loud, but because it's steady and unshakable. Self-care isn't just about face masks and spa days, though those are great. It's about the way you honor your physical, emotional, and mental well-being every single day. When you radiate self-care and self-love, you silently communicate, I know my worth, and I protect it. And trust me, men can't help but notice. Let's start with the physical aspect of self-care. Taking care of your body isn't about achieving perfection, it's about respecting the vessel that carries you through life. Are you nourishing yourself with healthy food? Are you moving your body in ways that make you feel strong and alive? Men notice the glow of a woman who takes pride in her health, not because of how she looks, but because of the energy she carries. That vitality is magnetic. Then there's emotional self-care. This is about recognizing and honoring your feelings without judgment. It's about creating space for joy, sadness, excitement, and everything in between. When you're emotionally attuned to yourself, you create a sense of balance that radiates outward. Men admire women who can navigate their emotions with grace because it shows strength, self-awareness, and maturity. But here's the secret. Self-care isn't just about what you do, it's about the boundaries you set. Do you allow yourself time to recharge, or are you constantly giving until there's nothing left? A man will notice when you prioritize your peace, and it sends a clear message. I value myself enough to protect my energy. That's the kind of confidence that makes him value you too. Let's talk about self-love. It's the foundation of self-care. Without it, your efforts can feel hollow or performative. Self-love means accepting yourself exactly as you are while striving to be the best version of yourself. It's a balance of gratitude and growth. When you love yourself unapologetically, it shows in everything you do, from the way you carry yourself to the way you treat others. Men are drawn to women who love themselves because it sets the tone for how they will treat you. Think about it. If you treat yourself with kindness, respect, and care, you're silently teaching him to do the same. You're showing him that you won't settle for anything less than what you give to yourself. Now, let's connect this to Stoicism. Self-care and self-love are deeply aligned with Stoic principles. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. Self-care is a form of control. It's a way of saying, I choose to nurture myself, no matter what life throws my way. When you embody this mindset, you radiate a calm, steady strength that is undeniably attractive. But let's get practical. How can you start radiating self-care and self-love today? Begin with small, intentional actions. Set aside time each day to do something that nourishes you, whether it's journaling, meditating, reading, or simply taking a walk in nature. These moments of self-connection build a foundation of self-worth that others can feel. Another key aspect is the way you talk to yourself. Are you kind in your internal dialogue, or do you criticize yourself harshly? Men notice the way you treat yourself because it influences how you show up in the relationship. Replace self-doubt with affirmations of your value. For example, instead of thinking, I'm not enough, try, I am growing, and I am worthy of love. One of the most beautiful aspects of self-care is that it's contagious. When a man sees you prioritizing yourself, it inspires him to do the same. It sets a standard of mutual respect and growth in the relationship. Imagine this dynamic. You're both encouraging each other to be your best selves, not out of obligation, but because it feels natural and fulfilling. Now, let's address a common fear. What if he thinks I'm being selfish? Here's the truth, self-care is not selfish. It's essential. A man who values you will understand that you can't pour from an empty cup. In fact, he'll admire you more for recognizing your needs and taking the steps to meet them. Your self-care doesn't take away from the relationship, it enhances it. Finally, remember that self-care isn't about perfection. There will be days when you feel off, and that's okay. What matters is your commitment to showing up for yourself consistently. Men value women who are authentic, not women who pretend to have it all together. Embrace your imperfections, and you'll find that they make you even more relatable and endearing. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Are you truly prioritizing yourself, or have you been putting your needs on the back burner? If it's the latter, now is the time to change that. Radiating self-care and self-love isn't just about attracting a man's respect, it's about building a life that feels fulfilling and aligned with who you are. If this message resonates with you, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. I want to hear how you're embracing self-care and self-love in your own life. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering insights that will elevate your relationships and help you become the love stoic version of yourself. You deserve a life filled with love, respect, and joy, and it all starts with how you treat yourself. The next silent move will add yet another layer of depth and intrigue to your relationships. 7. Master nonverbal communication. Have you ever noticed how much can be said without a single word? A glance, a smile, a slight tilt of the head. These subtle gestures often convey more than the most eloquent sentences ever could. Nonverbal communication is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction, and mastering it is a silent move that can instantly elevate how he perceives and values you. Let's start with the basics. Body language, your posture, the way you carry yourself, and the energy you bring into a room all send messages before you've even opened your mouth. Imagine standing tall, your shoulders relaxed, your gaze confident yet approachable. This kind of posture exudes self-assurance and creates an unspoken magnetism. Men are naturally drawn to women who appear comfortable and confident in their own skin because it signals emotional stability and strength. One of the most effective non-verbal cues is eye contact. It's a universal signal of attention, interest, and connection. But there's an art to it. Too much eye contact can feel intense, while too little might come across as disinterest. The key is balance. When you're talking to him, hold his gaze a second longer than feels natural before looking away. This subtle gesture creates a moment of intrigue, a silent acknowledgement that conveys both confidence and curiosity. Another powerful tool in your nonverbal repertoire is touch. The right kind of physical contact, brief, deliberate, and respectful, can create a profound sense of intimacy. For example, a light touch on his arm during a conversation, or a quick brush of your hand as you pass him communicates warmth and interest without being overt. These fleeting moments of connection are often more impactful than words. Your facial expressions also play a vital role in nonverbal communication. A genuine smile can disarm even the most guarded person. It conveys warmth, approachability, and joy, qualities that naturally draw people in. On the other hand, a lack of expression can create distance, making you seem unapproachable or uninterested. But remember, authenticity is key. A forced smile can be more off-putting than no smile at all, so let your expressions align with your true feelings. Let's talk about the importance of mirroring. This subtle technique involves reflecting his body language and energy during interactions. When done naturally, mirroring creates a sense of harmony and understanding. For example, if he leans slightly forward while speaking, you might do the same. If he uses animated gestures, reflect a similar level of energy. This subconscious alignment fosters a feeling of connection and makes him feel understood. Silence itself is a form of nonverbal communication. A well-timed pause can convey thoughtfulness, intrigue, or even playfulness. For instance, if he asks you a question, pause for a moment before answering. This slight delay adds weight to your words and signals that truly considering your response. It's a subtle yet powerful way to command attention and respect. One of the most intriguing aspects of nonverbal communication is its ability to create mystery. When you're intentional with your gestures and expressions, you leave room for interpretation, which often piques curiosity. For example, a knowing smile without explanation or a lingering glance across a room can spark intrigue and keep him thinking about you long after the moment has passed. Let's connect this idea to Stoicism. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to remain calm, composed, and deliberate in our actions. Nonverbal communication is an extension of this principle. When you master your body language, facial expressions, and gestures, you project a sense of control and poise that commands respect. This quiet strength is incredibly appealing because it suggests depth and emotional stability. But nonverbal communication isn't just about attraction, it's about creating a deeper emotional connection. When you're fully present in an interaction, your nonverbal cues naturally align with your emotions, creating authenticity and trust. Men value this kind of connection because it feels genuine and effortless, a far cry from the superficial interactions they might encounter elsewhere. Now, let's address the role of nonverbal communication in conflict resolution. Words can often escalate tension, but a calm demeanor, open body language, and a gentle touch can diffuse even the most heated situations. Imagine a moment of disagreement. Rather than raising your voice or becoming defensive, you pause, take a deep breath, and respond with calm body language. This approach not only de-escalates the conflict, but also demonstrates emotional intelligence and maturity. One of the most rewarding aspects of mastering nonverbal communication is the confidence it brings. When you know that your presence alone can convey warmth, interest, and respect, you no longer feel the need to overcompensate with words. This quiet confidence is magnetic. It draws people in without effort, making them want to know more about you. Let's reflect on your own nonverbal habits. Are your gestures and expressions aligned with the message you want to send? Do you use eye contact to create connection? Are you aware of the energy you bring into a space? If not, now is the time to start paying attention. Small adjustments in your nonverbal communication can lead to profound changes in how others perceive and value you. Nonverbal communication is a silent but incredibly impactful move. It's not about performing or pretending, it's about being intentional with how you show up in the world. When you master this art, you elevate not only how he sees you, but also how you see yourself. And that's the ultimate power of nonverbal communication. It transforms both the connection you share and the confidence you carry. Ready to discover the final move that will tie all of this together? Let's keep going. There's one last key to unlocking the respect, admiration, and value you deserve. 8. Show gratitude and appreciation thoughtfully. Have you ever considered how a simple act of gratitude can shift the dynamics in a relationship? It's easy to underestimate the power of appreciation, but when done thoughtfully and with intention, it becomes a silent move that can make him value you in ways words alone cannot. Let's begin by understanding why gratitude matters so much. When you express appreciation, you're acknowledging the effort, kindness, or presence of someone else. For men, who often thrive on feeling respected and needed, this recognition is incredibly validating. But here's the key. It's not about constantly showering him with praise. True gratitude is subtle, specific, and meaningful. Imagine this scenario. He does something small but thoughtful. Maybe he holds the door for you, remembers your favorite coffee order, or takes the time to check in on you during a busy day. Instead of a quick, casual thanks, take a moment to look him in the eye and say, "I really appreciate how thoughtful you are. It means a lot to me." This kind of specific and heartfelt acknowledgement leaves a lasting impression. Gratitude is most impactful when it feels genuine. Avoid overdoing it or making it sound rehearsed. The goal is to show that you notice and value the little things, not to flatter him for the sake of it. Men can sense authenticity, and when your appreciation is real, it resonates deeply. But let's take this a step further. What about the things he does that aren't obvious? Gratitude isn't just for the grand gestures. It's about noticing the effort he puts into the relationship, even in ways that might go unnoticed. For instance, if he shares something personal or makes an effort to understand your perspective, acknowledge it. You might say, "I really admire how open you are with me. It makes me feel closer to you." This level of thoughtful appreciation strengthens emotional intimacy. Now, here's a secret. Gratitude isn't just about him, it's about you too. When you cultivate a mindset of appreciation, you become more attuned to the positive aspects of your relationship. This shift in perspective makes you radiate positivity, and that energy is incredibly attractive. Men are drawn to women who see and celebrate the good in others because it creates an uplifting and fulfilling connection. Let's connect this to Stoicism. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can control and finding peace in the present moment. Gratitude aligns perfectly with this philosophy. By choosing to appreciate what you have instead of fixating on what you lack, you embody a sense of contentment and emotional strength. When a man sees that you're someone who values the little joys in life, it inspires him to do the same and to value the unique connection he shares with you. But gratitude isn't just expressed through words. Actions often speak louder. Thoughtful gestures, no matter how small, can convey appreciation in ways that words sometimes can't. For example, if he's been supportive during a tough time, surprise him with something meaningful, a handwritten note, his favorite snack, or a small token that shows you were thinking of him. These actions silently say, "I see you, and I value you." There's also power in reciprocation. If he's gone out of his way for you, find a way to return the sentiment in your own unique style. This doesn't mean keeping score. It's about showing that you value the balance of effort in your relationship. When he feels that his gestures are noticed and reciprocated, it deepens his respect and commitment to you. Now, let's talk about timing. Gratitude is most impactful when it's unexpected. A spontaneous expression of appreciation carries far more weight than one that feels obligatory. For instance, rather than waiting for a special occasion, let him know in a quiet moment that you appreciate him. These surprise acknowledgements create memorable moments that stay with him. Here's another thought. Gratitude isn't only for him, it's also for yourself. Make it a practice to express self-gratitude. When you're thankful for your own qualities, growth, and efforts, it enhances your self-worth. Men value women who appreciate themselves because it sets the tone for a healthy, balanced relationship. By loving yourself, you create space for a love that's rooted in mutual respect and admiration. Finally, let's address a fear many people have. What if showing gratitude makes me seem too vulnerable? Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. When you express genuine appreciation, you're opening the door to deeper connection and trust. A man who values you will see your gratitude as a reflection of your emotional depth, not as a sign of dependence. As we wrap up this journey through the 8 silent moves, let me remind you, gratitude is the glue that binds relationships. It's the quiet acknowledgement of the effort, love, and presence that make a connection special. By showing gratitude thoughtfully, you not only elevate how he values you, you also nurture a relationship built on respect, admiration, and mutual growth. If this final move resonated with you, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. Gratitude is a gift that keeps giving, and I'd love to hear how you've embraced it in your relationships. Don't forget to subscribe for more transformative insights to elevate your connections and discover the love stoic within you. Someone who radiates strength, confidence, and authentic love. We've come to the end of this transformative journey, and now it's time to reflect. The 8 silent moves we've explored, each one a subtle yet powerful way to make him value you more, are not about changing who you are. They're about embracing the most authentic version of yourself, one that radiates confidence, self-respect, and intentionality. Think about what you've learned. The power of presence, the art of strategic distance, the beauty of deep listening, and the strength of boundaries. You've discovered how quiet ambition, self-love, non-verbal communication, and thoughtful gratitude can change not only how he sees you but also how you see yourself. These moves are not about manipulation or playing games, they're about building a foundation of respect, connection, and mutual admiration. At the core of it all lies the philosophy of the love stoic, grounded, self-assured, and intentional in every action. When you embody this mindset, you're not just elevating your relationships, you're elevating your entire life. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and to let go of the rest. When applied to love, it creates a calm, confident energy that men find irresistible. But here's the most important takeaway. This journey isn't just about making him value you. It's about recognizing your own value. When you know your worth and live in alignment with it, the respect, admiration, and love you seek naturally follow. These silent moves are tools to help you step into your power, not only in relationships but in every aspect of your life. As you move forward, remember, the most magnetic thing about you is your authenticity. Men value women who value themselves. When you're confident, self-assured, and intentional, you inspire those around you to rise to your level. If this video has inspired you, let me know by commenting number 1 below. Your journey of self-discovery and empowerment is one worth celebrating, and I'd love to hear how these insights have resonated with you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content designed to elevate your relationships and help you embrace your inner love stoic. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Here's to stepping into your power, creating meaningful connections, and living a life filled with respect, admiration, and love. Until next time, remember, your value begins with you, and that's the most powerful move of all. Stay amazing.